welcome questions if you have any.
Minister, zooming in on Spur, you've got 94,000 workers now and 1,400 companies. What's Ball doing to track that, to ensure that Spur reaches the right workers? That's number one. And number two, are there any trends to show that after attending Spur, that there is a tendency for companies to still retrench rather than continue to re-employ these workers?
Okay, thanks. I think firstly, let me explain that through the Spur is a tripartite collaboration. We work through NTUC to reach out to workers who are members of the union. NTUC's operation also extends beyond the unionized workers. So any worker that walk into NTUC, E2I for example, they will also help them. So I think we are reaching out to both the unionized as well as the ununionized workers. For the companies, we are reaching out through SNEF, Singapore National Federation of Employers Federation. So through SNEF, we reach out to the employers, the companies, especially those who have excess manpower. We work with them to tap on Spur to provide training for their workers during the downtime, excess time that they have. So I think through both angles, we reach out to the workers. And also we are now leveraging on the extensive career centers that we have developed over the years with our CDCs. These career centers are operated by the CDCs, managed by WDA. So through WDA's career centers at the various CDCs, we also reach out at the community level. So those who need help will be able to have access to CDC career centers, and we will leverage on Spur to help them train and so on and upgrade. So I think we are doing all this to reach out to workers who are in need of training and upgrading and need help during the downturn. And of course, through the mass media, through our regular activities at the grassroots, at the community events, job fairs and so on, we also reach out to these workers. From our experience, we find that it is much more effective if we are able to encourage them to come to our career centers, to our E2I, to NTUC's E2I, or to our CET centers. Because in these centers, we have career consultants that will be able to advise them, profile the workers, identify their needs, identify their potential, so that we are able to match them better with the jobs as well as the training that they may need. So I think we will encourage workers to please approach our career centers at the CDCs or NTUC's E2I or the various CET centers. I think that way we'll be able to be more effective in helping them rather than just pick up a brochure and try on their own to look for jobs. I think matching is an important part in terms of their skills, in terms of their training needs. So I think it is important for us to reach out to these workers and encourage them to come forward to our centers. Yeah. On your second question with regard to companies who will still retrench after the training, I think it is important for us to recognize that during a downturn, retrenchment and restructuring may not be totally avoidable. This is an important message. Spur will help to encourage companies to save jobs, but it is not intended to stop companies totally from retrenchment. Some restructuring is necessary for companies to better position themselves so that they are able to cope with the downturn and emerge from the recession stronger and more competitive. So I think that is an important part of our restructuring process. But Spur serves a very important function in helping companies to upgrade the workers that they already have so that as part of the restructuring, they will be able to retain more of the workers. And even during the downturn, because they are able to send them for retraining, as a result, they will be able to save part of their wage costs because we provide absentee payroll to help companies defray part of the salary cost. This will also allow companies to reduce the number of people retrenched and to reduce the number of people being affected. So I think by doing so, we help to minimize the retrenchment number and minimize the unemployment rate. So from the numbers I showed you just now on the chart, if you compare the various countries, if you look at the economic performance of many of these economies, they are not as badly affected as Singapore and a few of our Asian economies. But in terms of unemployment rate, Singapore is among one of the lowest among all the countries taken together. So to a large extent, the various programs we've put in place, jobs credit, Spur and so on, have helped to reduce this number. the number of unemployed and the number of retrenchment. So I think we also continue to monitor them. Many of our SPUR programs, we actually work with the companies quite closely. It is not just a program that open to them to tap on, but we actually go down to the companies, work with them. Sometimes we tailor the programs to suit them, and sometimes we work with them in order to tap on SPUR. And together, SPUR is not just, should not be taken as a standalone package. You have to look at it in the total package of help that we are providing companies, including the tripartite guidelines in managing excess manpower. So within the guidelines, we also help companies in implementing cost-cutting measures so that they can save jobs. So I think if you take all these package together, all the measures taken together, we have been quite effective in helping companies manage the cost, manage the downturn, so as to save jobs. This has been reflected in our unemployment rates. Yeah. We have also recently introduced trust teams, tripartite upturn strategy team. This team has been set up among the tripartite partners for the specific purpose of reaching out to companies to help them introduce and implement the tripartite guidelines of managing excess manpower. Because many of these companies have not experienced downturn before, and they may not be familiar what are the possibilities they can consider before taking up retrenchment as a last resort. So these trust teams will then work with the companies, take them through the process so that they will have the opportunity to explore all the other possible alternatives like shorter work week, even no pay leave, even wage adjustment, taking advantage of the flexible wage system that we already developed, and flexible working arrangement, shorter work hours, and so on, before they have to decide on retrenchment. So I think through these efforts, trust team and our outreach efforts, we will help companies tap on SPUR. Yes.
Any other plans to review the activities of SPUR beyond the unemployment rate? More specifically, for example, whether the workers who learn these new skills, whether they are able or engaged into other jobs.
Yeah, in fact, that's a very good question because SPUR program is not just training. In the CET centers, for example, they are also part of the service that they provide is on career counseling, placement, as well as guidance of these workers beyond placement. So to a certain extent, some of the programs, traineeship program, for example, it involves job attachment for workers to be placed with the potential employers so that they go through a period of traineeship and we monitor the progress. So I think under SPUR, we monitor the outcome very closely to ensure that our training efforts do not go to waste and that they are relevant. And therefore, it is also part of our program under SPUR that we work with employers to develop training programs that suit them. Because if we just make available generic courses, some companies may not find them useful. So in certain instances, for example, some electronics companies will be working with them, developing courses, some are in-house, some are external, to ensure that these courses are relevant to the company's needs. So that workers, after training, they really have the skills that is needed by the companies. So we do monitor the outcome. And as I mentioned earlier, because we monitor the outcome, we find that it is important for us to counsel the workers as they come in so that we are able to design the training program for him, design the matching efforts for him, so that we are able to better match their jobs. And this way we will ensure not only they are able to find jobs more easily, but they are also able to stay on the job longer. So I think these are outcomes that we will continue to monitor.
Minister, looking at the present trend, how imminent is this second wave of retrenchment that the labour movement is worried about?
Yes. As I said, I'm not used to making projections, so I would prefer to focus on the tasks in front of us, focus on helping to save jobs. Every job saved is one job saved. So that has been my approach. But let me just explain the scenario. I think what we were concerned about is that now maybe we are seeing some encouraging signs in global economy, but we are not certain whether these signs are so-called green shoots are really sustainable. So our concern is that the second wave may come. may come towards the end of second quarter or early third quarter. We do not know when it will come. But it is important for us to always be prepared for the second wave. So that is why during this period, we will continue to step up our efforts to help companies. And that is why at this point in time, we actually just recently rolled out the tripartite guidelines, because we want our companies and our workers to be prepared if the economy continues to weaken and if the job market remains soft for the next 2 to 3 quarters. So I think it is more important for us to focus on what we can do to prepare for the second wave, rather than to think about when the second wave will come. I think once we are prepared, whether it comes during the second quarter or the third quarter or the fourth quarter, it really doesn't matter, because we are already prepared. Our companies are ready, are tightened, are strengthened. Our workers are already ready. So I think this is the most important task ahead of us. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much. Yes.在我们面对这一次的经济萧条的危机的时候，人力部和我们的劳资政双方合作伙伴非常紧密的合作，我们一直不断的在观察整个经济的走势跟我们人力市场的情形。我们在商讨的过程当中，就不断的调整我们的政策方向。比如说最近我们所提出来的劳资政双方的指导原则，就帮助我们的企业能够更好的处理他们的人力费用的问题，特别是过剩的人力。另一方面，我们帮助这些企业能够增加他们的竞争力，好让他们的企业能够生存，而且不单只是能够生存，也能够更有竞争力。这样的话，我们就能够保留更多的工作，最终我们就能够让我们的工友们能够保住他们的饭碗，这是最重要的。在这一个劳资政指导方针里面，我们也鼓励企业能够从各种各样的方法探讨不同的途径来节省开支，以求保住工作。这个是很重要的，因为我们不希望企业动不动就裁员，所以我们希望他们能够透过不同的方法和我们的劳资政双方彼此合作，让他们能够保留更多的工作，好让我们的工友能够保住他们的饭碗。那么我们要帮助他们，我们也最近也设立了我们所谓的 Trust Team， 这是劳资政三方的我们的整新策略的小组。这个小组会和我们的企业的管理层探讨，帮助他们了解我们这个劳资政三方的指导原则，好让他们能够按照这个指导原则来实行，帮助他们保住工作，让我们的工友能够有更多的工作的机会。所以这样的话，我们就能够帮助我们的国人度过这次的经济难关。
不过我们也知道，就是说无论怎么样的情况下，如果经济再进一步的恶化的话，政府也就是说再给予协助的，当然也不会就是阻止公司进行任何的重组或者是裁员的。这是否意味着就是说我们已经准备好面对可能发生的第二波裁员？
我想在整个经济转型的过程当中，我们的企业也必须不断的调整，不断的改变。在这样的过程当中，有时候裁员是难以避免的，但是通过我们的各样的计划，比如 Jobs Credit 跟 Spur， 我们能够帮助企业减低裁员的人数。即使他们要裁员的话，通过这些计划也能够帮助被受到影响的被裁员的工人能够有提升的机会，帮助他们更容易找到新的工作。所以我想我们没有办法完全阻止企业的裁员，因为这个是企业改型的一个步骤，但是我们能够减低裁员所带来的影响，也能够减低企业裁员的人数，这是我们要达到的目的。从我们的失业率来看，如果我们和我们周边的国家发展的国家比较的话，一般上我们的失业率比其他的国家都来得低。这其中一个重要的因素就是因为我们推出了这许多的政策，包括 Jobs Credit 跟 Spur， 来帮助企业减低裁员， 帮助我们减低我们的失业率。所以在这方面，我们必须不断的努力。我们也希望企业跟工友和我们合作配合。企业一方面要努力的削减开支，保住工作；工友另一方面要能够采取比较灵活的态度，接受挑战，接受调整。那么政府方面也会提出不同的政策、不同的项目来帮助工友，来帮助企业进行这一次的改变。
那你也谈到，就是说人力部采取的施政方针不是注重在准备第二波，不管是第二季度、第三季度，还是未来几时发生，所以是可以加以。
我想人力部的政策最重要的是帮助我们的企业和我们的工友来面对目前我们所碰上的这次的经济危机。那么如果有第二波的裁员来的话，我希望我们的企业跟我们的工友都已经准备好。所以目前我们当前的要务是赶紧的推动我们的这几项计划 ，Spur、PSP、Traineeship 跟 Spur Jobs 等等这些计划，我们都非常有效的来帮助企业。所以我们目前当前职务是要推动这些计划，帮助我们的企业跟工友准备好，即使有第二波的裁员再来的话，我们也已经有备无患了。
这个问题就是刚刚你谈到，就是说你们的计划、你们的目标是在2018年的那个目标，2018年似乎有点久。你会不会谈出接下来就是说怎么样计划进一步的，就是将这个情况更能够帮助不同的企业，而且能够见到它的效果，而不是好像说花了这笔钱可是付诸东流。
我想2018是我们的工业安全的目标，这个目标定于1.8，就是每10万人口每10万的工友只有1.8的这个死亡率。这个目标是全世界已经是相当高的一个目标，所以这个需要一段时间，我们逐步的来实行。因为我们目前的这个2.8的这个成绩，其实已经算是在一般的国家里面已经是领先了。但是我们希望能够定更高的目标，因为我们希望我们的工作场所能够更加的安全。所以这个目标需要一段时间，需要改变企业的操作方式跟他们的企业的文化，所以这是需要时间的。那么至于我们的 Spur 的这个项目呢，其实 Spur 的 program 只有2年。这个 Spur 最重要的是应付目前的经济危机，帮助我们的工友提升，帮助我们的企业减低他们的这个开支，这个是 Spur 目前的最重要的工作。但是我刚才提出，就是我希望通过 Spur 所带来的一些正面的影响，不单只是这2年应付危机就过去了。我希望它所带来的正面的影响，比如我们对于提升的重视，工友对于受训的那种态度，积极的态度。我希望在这个经济危机过后，在 Spur 结束之后，他们能够继续不断的积极的学习，这对我们人力的资源的竞争力是非常重要的。所以我们是人力部的政策是希望，虽然这一次的 Spur 是注重在帮助工友度过这个危机，但是 Spur 所带来的正面的影响，它的效果，希望能够永久的存留下去。谢谢 ，Thank you。